How long have you been waiting to start your YouTube channel? A few months? A year? Even longer? And how many excuses have you come up with about why you're not starting? Maybe you're worried about being on camera, you think you don't have the time, or you're overwhelmed because you don't even know where to start. Here's the good news. In 2025, you are finally starting that YouTube channel, and it's going to be easier than you think with this simple beginner's guide. I've made YouTube videos every single week for the last 6 years with nearly 300 videos published. So today I'm sharing everything I've learned to help you start your YouTube channel the easy way. First things first, let's talk about your niche. This is going to be the overall topic that you talk about on your channel and the foundation for your content. Your niche is what your audience is going to come to your channel for. It's the topic that they and you are passionate about, the problems that they want solved, or the entertainment that they are looking for. And a niche prevents your channel from feeling random. If your topics are all over the place, potential subscribers might hesitate because they don't really know what they're signing up for. For example, if one day you're doing cooking and the next day you're playing a video game, that kind of inconsistency can hinder your growth. People are more likely to subscribe to your channel when they know exactly what they're going to be getting and they know what to expect from your channel. So how do you choose a niche? You want to start by asking yourself a few questions. Here's some examples. What do you love talking about or doing? What could you see yourself creating content about a year from now? What are you knowledgeable about or willing to learn more about? And what problems can you help people solve, or what value can you provide? And then once you've brainstormed some ideas, look for the overlap of what you enjoy, what others need, and what is sustainable for you to create, because we don't want you burning out. And that overlap is your sweet spot. However, if just choosing one niche feels too restrictive, you can opt for brand pillars, which is the direction that I am taking my business in right now. I used to feel very restricted in my niche, which was blogging and Pinterest, and while it worked for a little while, I really felt stuck. It wasn't everything that I wanted to talk about, so that's when I decided to opt into doing brand pillars and expand. Brand pillars are smaller themes or categories that fit into your overall arching niche. So instead of just focusing on one topic, I now have 5 key themes that represent me and my content. And this approach still ties back to a central idea, but it feels more open and authentic. So for example, some of my brand pillars include growing a YouTube channel, personal branding, authentic passive income strategies, life organization. These content pillars help me to create content that I enjoy while still providing value to my audience, and they tie into my overall niche of building a sustainable passive income business. But if you need a little bit of extra help figuring out your brand pillars or your niche, I have a freebie available down below in the description called the 5 questions to define your brand pillars, and it's going to walk you through the questions that you need to answer in order to either build your brand pillars or your niche, whichever one you choose to do. Now, once you've chosen your niche, the next step is to brainstorm your first video ideas. Now, you don't need to create a full calendar's worth of video ideas. I would just start with 3 to 5 solid ideas to get you going and to keep you from getting overwhelmed with everything that you want to implement. But not all video ideas are equal. So what makes a good video idea? The number one thing you need to focus on when creating a video is providing value. And there are a lot of different ways that you can provide value with different value pillars. Yes, more pillars. These values that you want to implement into your video are either education, relatability, inspiration, or to entertain. So you either want to educate the viewer, you want to be relatable to the viewer, you want to be inspirational to the viewer, or you want to entertain the viewer. And you can also do multiple things in one video, but if your video falls under at least one of those categories, chances are you are on the right track. The key is to think about what your audience wants, needs, or enjoys, and you can deliver that in a way that feels authentic to you. And if you're still not sure what you want to create, try this. Imagine that you are your ideal viewer. What are they Googling late at night? What are they typing into the YouTube search bar? What is something that they would feel excited to watch right now if it popped up on their feed? And that is where your best video ideas will come from. And then once you have brainstormed a few solid ideas, it is time to pick the one that you are most excited about and prepare to create your first video. And your first video does not need to be perfect. I cannot stress this enough. Your first video does not, and likely will not, be perfect. It just has to exist. And trust me, starting messy is better than not starting at all. My first video on this channel, which is still live by the way, you can go back and watch it, was pretty terrible. I was very scared, and I feel like, at least to me, that came across on camera. But I could not post my second video without posting my first video. I wouldn't be able to post my 253rd video on this channel without posting my first video. So just go post your first video. But if you need a little bit of help to prepare, here's a simple roadmap for getting ready for your first video. The first thing you need to do is pick your video topic. You've already brainstormed 3 to 5, just pick one. Does not matter which one it is, but it should be something that you feel natural talking about. something that you feel confident explaining or sharing information on, or if it's like a video game or an entertainment thing, something you feel confident playing or doing, and something that you know is going to resonate with your audience. You might also consider posting an introduction video. Now, this is actually what I did because I really just wanted to get that first video out of the way because I knew that first video was going to be the hardest one. But I also had my first actual real informative video recorded as well, so that 3 days after that first introduction video went out, I had another video scheduled because I knew no one was going to care about that first video. That first introduction video was strictly for me, and it helped me get the ball rolling. So if you feel the need to post an introduction video just to get you going, definitely do that. That's exactly what I did. So once you pick your video topic, you want to write an outline for your script. You don't need a word for word script. I personally do for my videos. I might switch it up a little bit when I'm talking, but I do word for word. If you don't want to do that, at least having a loose outline for where you want to take that video is going to help you record it faster, stay on track, not ramble, and it's going to help provide a lot more value to your audience when you know what you're talking about and what points you know you want to hit. And a good script is going to include starting with a hook to grab attention, following the main points or the story that you want to share, and then ending with a strong call to action. So I usually call out another video that they can watch, but since you're doing your first one, you can just tell them like, subscribe to the channel, and leave some sort of call to action. The next thing that you're going to want to do is set up your recording space. Now, you don't need a fancy studio to get started. I have the smallest office in existence, and I created a pretty wall that I knew was going to be the background of my office, and it works just fine. Natural light also works wonders if you don't have studio lights. I have studio lights now, but I started with just the natural window light. And then if you don't have a fancy camera, which you do not need when you first get started, you can just use your phone camera. That's exactly how I started out, and it worked just fine. And a pro tip for you when it comes to recording, if you can, avoid backlighting, which means the window light or the light source is behind you, because that's gonna make your video very dark and it's not gonna look great. You always wanna be facing the light source for the best results, so the window is in front of you, not behind you. You may also need to practice speaking on camera first. I did this a lot when I first started. When I first started, I was too scared to put my phone up and look at myself and talk to the camera. So I genuinely used to hit record, put my phone down next to me so that I was looking up at the ceiling and just start talking about anything because I was too scared to see myself on the screen. So I did that. Another thing you could do is just practice eventually lifting the phone, talking to the camera, walking around. I used to set up my phone while I was cooking dinner and just talk like I was on FaceTime to a friend about nothing, just so that you could get used to hearing your voice back, being recorded, things like that. Because it's completely normal to feel nervous. I know I was when I first started, because talking to a lens like this is not really a natural thing. So the more you practice, the easier it gets. And you also want to make sure that you are talking to the lens, not to yourself. So if you are holding up your phone and you're using your back camera so you can see yourself, you don't want to look yourself in the eye. You want to look at the camera lens so that you are looking the viewer directly in the eye and you're talking directly to them. So I'm looking straight into the lens. I have a camera with a flip out screen. If I look over to myself on the flip out screen and I'm sitting here talking to myself so that I can see what's happening, I'm not looking you directly in the eye. So when you're recording, make sure you look at the lens, not yourself. And then just speak like you're chatting to a friend. You don't need to aim for perfection. You just want to aim for progress. You can always edit out any mistakes later. When you look back on that recording, even if it is the worst recording you have ever seen, you are the only person that is ever going to see that recording, and you're going to edit it before you put it out so that it looks polished, because I have definitely messed up a lot in this video and you're never going to see it because I'm going to edit it out. So it's okay if your video is not perfect the first time, the 7th time, or the 10th time. It's okay. And then after that, you just want to hit record and start. Even if you feel awkward, even if you make mistakes, just keep going. I was not this natural talking to the camera 4 years ago, because you want to remember that your first video is just your stepping stone to your second video, your third video, your fourth video, your 253rd video. Your first video doesn't have to be perfect. It just needs to be done. Now, I know I've thrown a lot at you, so you're probably feeling overwhelmed and nervous because once your script is done, it is time to actually start recording your video. If you have followed this video to a T, you've picked your niche, you've brainstormed 3 to 5 ideas, and you've picked your very first idea, and now it's time to start thinking about recording your first video. But by now, the doubts are probably starting to creep in. What if it's not good enough? What if no one watches? What if I embarrass myself? So take a deep breath and let's break this down. One step at a time. If you're feeling overwhelmed, that feeling usually comes from trying to do so many things at once. I am very familiar with the feeling of overwhelm, so I know what you're feeling right now. But here's the one thing that you need to remember is you do not need to figure out every single step all at once right now. You just need to focus on the next step. So where are you right now in your journey? Have you picked your niche? Have you picked out your first video idea? Do you just need to press record? Whatever the very next step is, I need you to take that next step and worry about every other step later once you get to it. That's going to help you feel a lot less overwhelmed. Or maybe you have a fear of starting, but I want to remind you that it is okay to be a beginner. It's okay to not know what you are doing because we all start somewhere. Nobody's first video was perfect, and I'm sure you've heard this a lot, but my video was definitely not perfect. I didn't have a script. I just talked about myself and my journey up until that point. I looked terrified, at least in my opinion, because I was, and I didn't do any fancy edits. I just cut out all of the ums and all the places that I messed up talking. I didn't even bother with a thumbnail on that first video because I knew if I tried to get a thumbnail perfect and get the editing perfect and do everything all at once, I was never actually going to post that video. So it's totally fine, and you definitely should just keep the edit simple, keep the thumbnail simple, work with what you have, and add on your skills one brick at a time as you go. Because that is exactly what I did. You're just seeing the culmination of it in this video. But you cannot do any of that if you keep your first video in the drafts or the notes app. So just remember this. You only get better by doing, not by waiting for the perfect moment, because there is no perfect moment. And the good news is, the faster that you create videos, the faster you can improve on those videos. So here is my challenge for you. Just hit record. Today even if you don't post it, just record a rough version of what you think your first video will be. Get comfortable with the process, see how it feels. You don't have to have everything figured out. You just need to start. After today, you have no excuses. You have the very simple guide for starting your YouTube channel in 2025. So we are done with the excuses after you watch this video. And if you want my freebie for helping you pick your niche to help get the ball rolling, check that out down below in the description, or you can find more YouTube help from me right here. Make sure to like if you like, subscribe to my channel down below, more videos just like this, and I'll see you next time. Bye.